Political discussions have cropped up this week, such as the issue of Greece, but investors will focus on and assess the situation in China and emerging markets. Holger Schmieding, Berenberg Bank. The ECB left interest rates unchanged yesterday and said their policies are effective, they just need time. In your opinion, how much time, and when is the next realistic point when the ECB could alter its policy stance?
Monetary policy often takes half a year up to a year to show its effects. So in that sense, the ECB is absolutely right. It will take time. We will have to watch over the next 6 months whether business expectations and whether credit growth starts to improve a bit. If so, the European Central Bank will not have to do anything more beyond the big package that it delivered in March.
We saw better than expected German and Eurozone ZEW data this week. What was the driving force behind the positive data?
The ZEW survey is a survey of financial market participants. So it's often things that markets talk about that move this survey as well. We have seen gains in equity prices on balance over recent weeks. And as to the economic substance behind that, concerns about a hard landing in concerns about an escalating crisis in emerging markets and concerns about a new U.S. recession seem to be fading. So some of the worries that rocked markets in January and into February have gone onto the back burner, and as a result, the outlook for the economies is a bit more optimistic as seen by professionals.
UK employment rose for the first time since mid-2015. Are recent improvements in the labour market easing off, or is it a case that employers are refraining from hiring until it's clearer whether the UK will remain in the EU?
Data are, of course, a bit volatile. The data were not weak enough to really signal a clear change in the underlying trend of an improving UK labour market yet. But having said that, indeed, there are some signs in the labour market, in business surveys, that ahead of the Brexit referendum, businesses are starting to be a bit more cautious. So I would not overestimate the effect yet. It's early days, but probably the Brexit uncertainty is showing a little retarding impact on the UK economy, including its labour market.
US home resales rebounded more than expected in March, suggesting the housing market recovery remained intact. But we've seen signs that economic growth may have stalled in the first quarter. What is your stance on the health of the US economy at present?
I would not put too much emphasis on the US GDP data for the first quarter. We've seen in recent years that the first quarter was often very weak, and that was followed by a second quarter. I guess that this will be the case this time again. The more underlying fundamentals in the US, such as the labor market, consumer finances, and the housing market, still look fairly okay. We see still significant pent-up demand in the US housing market and expect the market to strengthen gradually further on trend.
And finishing up, what other economic data releases or events moved the financial markets this week?
Well, we of course have a lot of political discussions. Occasionally the issue of Greece has cropped up, but not moving markets very much. We had seen a modest improvement in Eurozone consumer confidence on Thursday, but that also wasn't the stuff to really move markets much. In my view, in general, we are in a slightly hesitant mode where markets are not moved too much by individual small data, but where markets try to assess especially whether the situation in China and emerging markets is indeed showing signs of improvement, and that is the case.
Holger, thank you very much for sharing your insights with us today. Well, that is all for the moment from me, Louise Macaulay. It's goodbye.